Hello, hello, hello. Thank you so much for joining me today on the Community Ledger. Again, my name is Andrea Banu, and I am not going to waste any time with a bunch of talk, a bunch of banter. Stephen A. Smith has officially responded to James Carville. If you watched my last video, you saw that James Carville went in on Stephen A. for speaking politics, and he didn't feel good about it. So I'm going to go ahead and jump on in. So let's take a look. Okay, just like I mentioned, I'm not going to waste a bunch of time. I'm going to jump right into this video so we can see exactly how Stephen A. feels about the comments that James Carville made about him speaking on politics.
But I got a lot of stuff to get into, particularly this first item. There's a lot of stuff to talk about today, but this is the number one thing on my mind, and I'm not going to waste a second delaying, this onslaught that's about to come. We're going to get started with Democratic strategist James Carville, who felt the need to call me out on his Politicon podcast earlier this week. The Raging Cajun, as he is affectionately known, is apparently upset with my recent political commentary where I have been critical of the state of the Democratic Party. To refresh y'all memory, here's part of what I had to say earlier that got him all up in a tizzy. Check it out. That's why I'm in the news. I'm not in the news because I'm here. I'm in the news because the Democratic Party is here. Damn it, lower than that. Down at the bottom. They suck right now. Horrible. Because they don't have a voice. Where the hell is the voice? And everybody want to sit up there and talk about, we don't need a voice. 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 Well, guess what? Somebody got to send a message. How the hell can somebody receive a message if there's no messenger? In response to what you just saw me saying, that's when Carville evidently lost it, and he went on his Politicon podcast and had this personal message to give to me, even though it was seen by everybody. Take a look.
Okay, I am a big Stephen A. Smith fan. I remember I saw him some years ago on TV. When it comes to politics, he don't know his from a hole in the ground. He's on there running his damn mouth about how he may have to run as a Democrat because there's nothing left of the Democratic Party. There's no talent. Stephen A., are you me? I mean, you say you're friends with Wes Moore and you say you're friends with Josh Shapiro. I'm friends with both of them. I think they're really extraordinary, talented people. But I got news for you, dude. There's 6 or 7 other people in the Democratic Party that are just that talented. So before you...
The problem is, James Carville, is that can't nobody name him. That's the problem. You claim you have all this extra talent, but can't nobody name him. That's a problem.
Start running your mouth off about politics, a topic of which you really don't know anything about. You ought to sit back and think about it and call some people and run it by them. So, Stephen A., keep up your on sports. I enjoy it. I like it, but don't make a fool of yourself anymore in talking about politics.
What I find interesting about all of this is that a lot of what James Carville himself has been saying sounds a lot like what the hell I've been saying. But before I get into that, first order of business, sir, do you have to be so rude?
Right.
Dropping F-bombs and going off like that. I mean, I know that's your nature. I understand that, but let's just say 2 can do that, I mean, if you really wanted to get raw, ain't nobody hiding from that. I could be that way. It's just that my mama taught me to respect my elders. And you are 80 years of age, if I remember correctly. And I'm trying to be respectful, so I'm not going to come at you the way that you came at me. I thought that was completely unnecessary. That's number 1. Number 2, I religiously say I'm no political aficionado. I religiously say I don't know politics like that. I read, I watch the news. I'm a conscientious observer. But I do have to ask you a question, Mr. James Carville, albeit rhetorically. You do know that you're talking to a voter, right? Could that be one of the reasons why y'all lost? Just a thought. Because you sound like one of those old curmudgeons that want things to stay or be the way that they used to be, and you're resentful, harboring an abundance of animosity because you're not being heard. That's not Stephen A. Smith's fault, sir. That's that damn Democratic Party that I was talking about.
And I'm not going to pause it too much more, but I'm going to speak to that also. To me, that is indicative of them just never having to really work for it. Them not really having any real competition these last few election cycles, these last few presidential election cycles. And because now the people are speaking out, the people, the voters are saying enough is enough. We want shit to change. The Democrats don't know how to respond because they ain't used to providing none of that. They used to us, specifically our community, the Black community, just falling in line. Okay, we can make a whole lot of promises on the campaign trail, but we ain't got to deliver on nothing. And next election season, you going to keep voting Democrat. You going to just keep doing what we tell you to do. And now things have shifted and they don't know what to do. Because at the end of the day, they really don't want to give us shit. So they trying to figure out, how can we win again, but at the same time, not actually give them nothing? And they trying to figure it out and it ain't working. And so Mr. James Carville is pissed because they been called out on it. And really, they ain't got no strategy. They don't have no next moves. They just lost right now. They real lost right now. And they falling apart. And it's showing. It's showing.
You see, they shouldn't listen to me. Do you realize, James Carville, that means they shouldn't have listened to you either? Which makes no sense because we were both right. Because guess what? What I was saying is what you were saying. I saw you on Fox News. I saw you on CNN. I saw you on your podcast before the election. Where the hell you think I got some of the stuff from? When you were talking about the Democratic Party, I'm making that up. I'm making it up when you were lamenting their strategy. I'm making it up when I talked about Kamala Harris and not resonating with the audience. I'm making it up when I talked about woke culture. I'm making it up when I talked about they weren't focused on the right issues. I'm making that up. You didn't say any of those things?
Right.
I tell you what, let's see the audience. Let's show the audience, rather, exactly what you said. I didn't say hear it. I said let's show it to them so they can see your face. They know it's you.
Run the tape.
They know it's you, James Carville. This is you talking. Take a listen.
We have no legislative power. We have no executive power. We have no judicial power. So when you're out of power, you're an opposition party. And go and tell all of the people that are sending you and asking you for money, justify what you did, justify what you did wrong, and tell us what you're going to do different. Because what you've done ain't worth a shit.
Right.
Get your head around that. And all of the Washington-based Democrats farting around, going to wine and cheese parties and talking about how misogynistic race comes, get your ass out of Washington and go work on a 2026 campaign and do penance to make up for your goddamn arrogance and stupidity. Well, we're going to say, we told you so. We told you this identity shit was disaster. We told you to get out in front of public safety issues. You didn't.
Right.
We told you to have an open process and demonstrate the magnificent and staggering and deep talent that exists in the modern Democratic Party. You didn't.
Right.
We told you to differentiate yourself from Biden. You didn't. I hate to be some fucking know-it-all, but all of these things are part of the record.
Where did I hear that before? I mean, did you hear him speaking, ladies and gentlemen? Did you hear him speaking about woke culture? Did you hear him speaking about how you needed to separate yourself from Joe Biden? Did you hear him speaking about There was no primary. You remember that stuff? Where'd y'all hear that before?
Right.
Where'd you hear it before? Oh, you thought I was finished. I got more. I got more. Play the next clip of James Carville, please. Show them.
The first thing is, when somebody runs for Democratic nomination in 2028, the first thing that I want to hear out of their mouth is, I'm taking our message everywhere. And when I say everywhere, I mean everywhere. I mean Joe Rogan, I mean Fox News, I mean Sunday morning shows, I mean everything. I'm proud of what we have to offer. I'm going to go out and promote it, and I'm going to go out and defend it, and I'm going to go out and attack them, and I'm going to do that all the time. Secondly, all of our events are going to be fun. There's going to be great music. There's going to be great comedians that are going to tell jokes before I come up. It's going to be an entirely different thing. With Dower, it's always somebody's in a pissy mood, or somebody's this. And we're just not connecting. We're not connecting at all. And it's just going to require some discipline, and it's going to require a change of attitude.
Just a little thought, Mr. James Carville. Are you sure you want to be the dude that's pointing out how the Democrats look so dour and always in a pissy mood?
Right.
You sure you the right person that should deliver that message?
Right.
Have you looked in the mirror? You saw yourself? You seen the way you talked about yourself?
Right.
You see the way you disseminate a message? You don't look dour? You don't look down? You don't look enthusiastic?
The
Come on
pot
now.
trying to call the kettle black.
Listen, sir, I respect you. And by the way, I appreciate your compliments about my sports career, my career in sports broadcasting and what have you. It's very kind of you. That part, very, very much so. Thank you very, very much. I do appreciate that. And I feel the same way about your political career. It's the economy, stupid. Still one of the most famous lines in political history back in 1992 when Clinton was running for office before he won the presidency. I got it. I understand. I know who you are. I know you've got your chops. I get you. But respectfully, sir, there's a couple of things that you need to understand. Most voters out there aren't political aficionados. But just because they're not doesn't mean that they don't know their ass from a hole in the wall, as you described me.
Right.
I saw inflation. I saw the economy not being what the Democrats purported it was. I saw crime in the streets. I saw a crisis at our borders. I saw a president that was clearly diminished, to say the least.
Right.
I saw the Democratic Party debatably, arguably engage in undemocratic behavior when you ultimately greased the skids to make sure he didn't experience a primary, to ultimately send him to that debate stage June 27th and embarrass himself, waited an additional 3 weeks for him to get out of office so you could put Kamala Harris in there without any resistance. I heard you lament that. Well, I lamented it too. I complained about it too. So we have to be as knowledgeable and as informed and as connected as James Carville to have a salient and decent opinion about what the hell is going on with the Democratic Party. That's what it takes. So respectfully, you're wrong.
100%.
And you know you're wrong. Now, there's a lot of people that should have listened to you, and they made a mistake by not listening to you. I'm the exact opposite. You were one of the people that I was listening to break down the problems with the Democratic Party. But in that sound that I played for our audience, I noticed that there was a level of inconsistency there. You talked about going to see she should go and interview and sit down with everybody, the Joe Rogans of the world. The list goes on and on. Well, it's funny, sir, Mr. James Carville. I'm reading an article from Newsweek in November. And in that article before the election, you were talking about how you didn't like her strategy, or in the immediate aftermath of the election, I'm sorry. You were lamenting how you didn't like the fact that she was sitting down with everybody. Actually, I think it was before the election. You were talking about how you didn't like the fact that she was going to sit down with Fox News, that she was going to go on The View, and all of this other stuff. You were talking about how you didn't like that. Now you're sitting back talking about, if I'm a Democrat, I'd be around everybody.
That's because at the beginning they felt like they had it in the bag. They felt like, okay, let's keep her hidden. She don't have to talk. She don't have to speak. We fooling them. We playing them. They falling for it. They falling for it. And then folks was like, wait a minute, this bro can't answer a single question. What is going on? And then that's when they started saying, okay, we're gonna have to start pushing her out. She gonna have to start doing some interviews. She is tanking. And then James Carville, his sentiment changed. They be playing games.
Go talk to everybody. That ain't what you said months ago.
Right.
That's not what you said, sir. Mm-hmm. So respectfully, let me state this again for everybody to listen. My life is pretty damn good. I have no desire to be a politician. I wouldn't want to contaminate and sully my life by entrenching myself in that cesspool in the nation's capital.
And a cesspool it is.
I'm very, very clear about that. And the pay would be significantly less. Let me add that too. At least for the 8 years I'm in office, because I damn sure if I win the first election, I ain't losing the second.
Stephen A. say you can't pay me enough to play them type of games.
So understand, I have no desire for it. What I said was it's an absolute embarrassment that I am the person that's being mentioned and named. It's a disgrace to this Democratic Party. It shows you have no bullpen. And I know that's what got your antennas up, and that's what riled you up even more so. Because you brought up how I have a relationship with Westmore and Josh Shapiro. Josh Shapiro, I met him one time in my life. I talked to him one time in my life. And hey, I think he's a fabulous governor for the state of Pennsylvania, and I think he knows his stuff, and I'm honored to have met him, and I'm looking forward to cultivating a relationship with him. Westmore is a different animal. I love this brother. I know him through sports because he and I talk about the Ravens all the time. I think he's doing a damn good job with the state of Maryland. And if there is a Democratic nominee to look at, it is definitely him. I think Westmore is an absolute winner. I'm not apologizing for that to anybody. I did not mean to imply that there's nobody in the bullpen in terms of their capabilities, sir. What I'm saying is who's resonating with the national audience, because you got Trump and that cult-like following that he has who will go along with whoever Trump says to go along with in the event that he doesn't manipulate the Constitution and ends up getting a third term. So you can put his vote, you can qualify that as lock, stock, and barrel. Who's the Democrat that can galvanize an audience on a nationwide level to pull off the level of support that it's going to take to upend and usurp a Trump acolyte or somebody like that in the future? Who is that person going to be? Do I have to be an aficionado in politics to say something like that?
All right.
The Washington Post wrote an article about me today. Got a damn halo over my head trying to act like I'm Jesus. Like I'm some savior. Ridiculous. But I don't mind. It was a good article. And I'm not insulted by it. I'm simply saying, to paint me in that picture, no, I'm not that dude. But in that article, Will Cain, my former colleague at ESPN, now a host at Fox News, with a weekday show every weekday at 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I'm happy for him. I'm proud of him. In the same breath that he was complimentary of me, he said, I didn't know enough about the issues. He's absolutely right. I never said I did. I don't study Capitol Hill like I study sports. Do y'all want me to? Do you know what kind of havoc I'd wreak if I sat down for a few weeks and just buried my brain and my face and my mind into the nuances of politics and what transpires on Capitol Hill? Are y'all sure y'all want that smoke? You sure about that? I mean, because it's like you're daring me to, Mr. James Carver. It's like you're daring me to. You sure? Are you sure? Might want to think about that. Because.
And I'm going to end it there. Because that's facts. Think about that. Because y'all don't have nobody. Democrats watching, y'all don't have nobody. And that's the problem. That's why this is even a topic of discussion. That is why Stephen A is even a topic of discussion, because y'all don't have nobody. And that is the problem. Like, y'all still talking about Kamala quite possibly running again. Like, for what? I mean, AOC, Pete Buttigieg, Gavin Newsom, like that's all y'all got? That's what y'all working with? Oh, y'all ain't trying to win. Y'all not trying to win nothing if that's all you got. And they talking Stephen A because at least he got some balls. At least he talking about real issues. At least he got the ear of the people. And that's a shame. And it's crazy that James Carville would come out as old and disrespectful as he wanted to be and say some shit like that to Stephen A. Stephen A is a citizen. Stephen A has a platform. He has an audience. He is a voter. He can question whatever the hell he wants to question. Isn't that not what we fighting for? The lack of censorship? Freedom of speech? Who are you to tell this man not to speak on politics? Excuse you, sir? Excuse you? I don't have to know shit. But if I know that it ain't working out for me, if I know this is the only person we got to choose from and over here ain't nothing and we only got a two-party system and that is not looking good for us, I can speak on it. I can speak on it. If my community is continuing to be hurt, if my community is continuing to fail, and this particular party over here keeps making promises that they don't ever fulfill, and all we got is this man over here, oh, I'm going to speak on it. And that is all that he is saying. Now, right now, Stephen A is claiming that he's registered as an independent, that he's kind of fell back a little bit from the Democratic Party, but I completely understand how, and I completely understand why. And that is your problem, Democrats. The problem is that you in denial. You still sitting around thinking that Trump won because the whole country is racist and misogynistic. Word? For real? That was the problem? Okay. All right. Keep thinking that. And you guys are the laughing stock of America right now. Because it's delusional. It's ridiculous. And now somebody comes out on a public platform and is like, y'all need to get it together. Y'all got to pull some real leaders out and start speaking on behalf of the Democratic Party and start positioning yourself. You can't wait to 2026. You can't wait to 2028 to start actually, like, what they say, shaking hands and kissing babies. You got to start working now. You got to put the work in now. Did you not forget that y'all lost millions and millions of votes from people who simply just chose to sit out? What about them people? You just gonna let them ride? Like, we ain't even gonna worry about what their issues were. What are you doing? Like, Trump has done more in the past 30 days than Biden did in 4 years. Just let that set in. Trump has done more to stabilize and secure our borders in 30 days than Biden and Kamala did in 4 years. Trump has been able to solidify and certify that there are only two genders that are going to be recognized from here on out in less than 30 days. While Biden and Kamala was on this other he, she, we, them nonsense. So the Democratic Party can clearly see that system ain't working for the people, right? And ultimately, the people are going to vote who they want in office. And y'all don't have no real competition. J.D. Vance is already continuing to put in that work. J.D. Vance was not no game when he was on that campaign trail. I'm going to tell you what, that man, when he was speaking on these platforms in defense of Trump, he was not caught slipping not one time. That man did more interviews than Kamala even dreamt about and was on it every single time. He never missed a step. He answered every question flawlessly. You think that man ain't preparing himself to run, y'all the only ones playing, because y'all haven't had to really work for nothing. Y'all haven't had to do nothing, and you took the black vote for granted, like you always have. And black folks finally was like, you know what, we didn't had enough. We didn't had enough. And folks like me got on this internet and started dragging y'all, and y'all couldn't recover. People reiterated and replayed that video of Kamala saying, I ain't gonna do nothing for black people. No. We was like, oh yeah? Oh, okay. We gonna share this. And she wasn't able to live it down. And she put out that black man plan. And we was like, yeah, okay. And chopped and screwed what it really was. So you can't, it's a new day. It's a new day. You can't pull the wool over our eyes anymore. Like, people are digging into what's really happening on Capitol Hill, what's really happening with this legislation, what's really happening on these platforms. We know that Kamala Harris didn't even have no policies on her website for over 30 days. I went myself. I was like, okay, well, let me see what she's talking about. It wasn't nothing on that page outside of donate. Run me your money. That's all she was asking for. That's it. And I was like, what? How is this even real? But it was. And y'all thought you was really going to win off that. And then the truth came out. And now here you are trying to recover, but I don't even get what you're trying to do. Like, it's just not making sense to me. It's really not making sense to me. And I know y'all going to have to get it together, or it's going to have to be a third party to come about. The Green Party, Jill Stein, Bernie Sanders, whoever. It's going to have to be a new party system, because these Democrats ain't popping on nothing. I mean, and that's just real. They've been in power for a long time, and it is not going well. And I don't know what they are going to do. And they got people like James Carville out here cursing everybody out, and that ain't gonna work either. Because the whole time Kamala was running, James Carville was like, oh, she gonna win, please. And as soon as she lost, he was like, everybody could see that she was gonna lose. Oh, okay. So please save it. So what say you? What is your opinion on the fact that James Carville wanted to cuss Stephen A. out about speaking on politics? But I'm glad that Stephen A. came out and checked him and was like, listen, sir, I talk about whatever the hell I want to talk about, okay? With your old ass. Don't you be coming on here cursing at me, trying to check me. Shit. But nonetheless, it gets real crazy in politics. It gets real crazy. That's why I told you I don't be watching Housewives of Atlanta and all that other stuff. This this Republican versus Democrat and all these mayors and these governors, and that's where the real drama is. But nonetheless, again, thank you so much for spending some time with me. If you have not already, please do like, share, and subscribe. I would love to see your comments in the comment section so I can get your opinions about this feud between Stephen A. and James Carville. And what do you think is going to be the future of the Democratic Party? Do you think that we should have a third party system? Do you think there should be a new party, since the Democrats are down bad right now? So again, thank you for spending so much time with me. I love you. I appreciate you. Again, my name is Andrea Banu, and this is the Community Ledger. Be sure to like, share, and subscribe, and watch the next video by clicking right here.